Maria Ronaluna is also from the Philippines, right? So what a coincidence. We have another gentleman here from the Philippines as well, into small business development. So I would just like you to give a round of applause, please. Right. All yours, Maria.
Vinaka. Good afternoon, everyone. As you mentioned, my very super long name, forget everything else and just remember Rona. Another story for another day. But first of all, thank you so much for inviting me to speak today to the USP Campus Life. It's an honor to be here and very humbled to talk about our story at the Greenhouse Studio. As you can see, that's the name of my business. So my company that I started in 2014. So a bit of a background. Right. Okay. So, so as he said, I'm originally from the Philippines, but I met this handsome gentleman right here in 2008, and he's from Fiji, even though he looks more Filipino than I do, apparently. But I met him in 2008, and as they say, the rest is history. We fell in love. We had a family. 2 years after, we have our son Maui was born. And at that time, when we had married, I was very fortunate enough to have been working as a GM in an advertising agency, a local advertising agency. But what I realized was 2 years flew by, just like that. I was pregnant when I took on that role. I was 4 to 5 months pregnant with Maui when I took on that GM role. And then before I knew it, 2 years had gone by, and I thought to myself, there must be a better way of doing this. I shouldn't be working until 2 o'clock in the morning. I should be able to see my family. If I had my own business, I could rewrite the rules of how to do business. That's what I thought. So I said, okay, I'm going to start something different. It's going to be called the Greenhouse Studio. And so the next video, which we did in 2015, so that's 5 years ago, still very much can explain to you without listening to me for 5 minutes on what Greenhouse Studio is all about. So I always play it, so just give me a second. Okay, so I always play this video because it saves me the 5 minutes of talking about what we do by actually showing you some examples of the work that we've done. So granted, this was in 2015, so that's, as I said, 5 years ago, and we've done more work, very fortunately so. So I didn't set out to get into business. I studied communications in school, marketing, communications, design. So I consider myself an accidental entrepreneur because when I was in that other agency, I thought there has got to be a better way of doing this. And so I started my business after that. That's pretty much like the birth of the greenhouse studio. And I always talk about it like a child, that our business is like a child. I had my firstborn, and I said my secondborn is the greenhouse studio, because it certainly felt like it. And I think as a mom, I could really relate that it was very difficult from the start. I started with one laptop, my mobile Wi-Fi, and my phone, and I worked at coffee shops. 2 clients. That's what I had in 2014. And I remember going to Suva City Council, and they said that I think at that time there was no mobile license that you could get, but Nasino City Council had the mobile license to be able to work from anywhere, because I certainly couldn't afford to rent an office somewhere, because part of the rules of SCC is that you have a physical space to be able to get a business license. So I remember getting the mobile business license, and I would work from the second bedroom of our flat next to my son's crib. That was the start of the greenhouse studio. So if ever, because Vanessa from Campus Life said, well, you know, just talk about the challenges of the company, what are your experiences, and certainly if there is a word, if there's only one word that I can talk about in this presentation that I hope you will remember, it's grit. Okay, so for those of you, if you think of grit, immediately you think it's hard work. Grit means hard work. But for me, it's more than hard work. And in fact, because I knew nothing about business when I started, I did everything I could in the beginning to read as much as I can about other people, not just from Fiji, but from outside. You know, how do they do business? You know, how do you become successful in business? What do I need to know? Because I knew nothing, basically. And so I came upon this word, and I thought, oh, okay, there was this woman, a researcher named Angela Duckworth, and her research looked at challenging situations and looked at which people succeed based on these challenging situations. And surprisingly, what she found was that it was neither your brains, it was not your talents, it was whether those people had grit. Basically, what grit is this: possessing an indomitable spirit, having a drive for achievement regardless of upbringing or situation, earning success in the trenches through hard work. So being able to go back up over and over again, you know, whatever challenges that you have in front of you. For me, this is perhaps the greatest lesson that I have learned. Nearly 6 years in business, still a baby, I think it's still a child, but going through all of that, starting with no office, just a laptop and 2 clients, and being very blessed to now have grown to having 8 people on staff and an office, finally an office outside of our flat. This is the word that comes to mind, and something that I would love to share, because you know, everyone can have grit. It's like a muscle that you exercise. You know, the more that you bring yourself back up after falling down, the more you have grit. Right. So this image makes me think so much about how even when you go up there, you could go back down again. And it certainly happens in our journey, through business, making mistakes, trying again with different clients, and trying to go back up the mountain over and over again over the years. Growing, learning how to manage people, learning how to balance everything with a growing family. Right. so I like this line as well. Grit depends on a different kind of hope. It rests on the expectation that our own efforts can improve the future. We don't say, oh, tomorrow is going to be okay. You know, something good is going to happen. The thing about grit is you yourself resolve to say that you're going to make tomorrow better. So you feel like you have an ounce of control. You know, like for example, when I started, I told you, right, I knew nothing about business. But by working hard and reading about all these books, meeting other entrepreneurs, getting advice, joining councils like the Women Entrepreneurs Business Council. I'm sure you've heard from the Youth Entrepreneurs Council as well already. You resolve within yourself that you're going to be better. You're not just going to sit and wait and things are going to fall on your lap and it's going to be better tomorrow. So I think, you know, that's certainly the difference. So they say that some people have been built for grit, but as I said, you know, it's a muscle that you can exercise. But for me, this is 5-year-old Rona, that's me next to my father. And my brother and my mom. I think I always, thinking back in my history, I feel like I grew up learning how to do hard work because of my history. So even from a young age, grit was being practiced, you know, because I didn't come from a rich family, you know. I saw my mother doing small business as well, and I always say that the line that I always use was that she crawled her way to getting my brother and I to finish a university education. You know, because like it was so expensive. They didn't want us to go to a public university, and in the Philippines, some universities really expensive, but it had, you know, good facilities, and my parents believed, you know, the way out of that life was through education. And so going up through that, I believe my parents really prepared my brother and I in learning how to do hard work, and that, you know, like you have to be positive, you have to do something about your situation. So I thank them for, because I didn't know that that's going to certainly help me, you know, in starting up my business with Greenhouse. Another thing that I'd like to talk about, and which is required by grit, and certainly when you are starting and running your business, is guts. I love this line. Scared is what you're feeling, but brave is what you're doing. You know, at that time I had a 2-year-old. My husband was also just starting off in his career. So starting a business was definitely a risk. But because I really believed in what we wanted to do at Greenhouse, I went off in that journey even though I was scared. Do you remember this scene in Moana? I don't know if everyone has watched Moana, but our managing director now at Greenhouse, when we were talking about Moana the other day, and I told her, you know what my favorite scene is in Moana? You know that part where she's walking down the sea, breaking like a path through the sea to face, you know, this lava monster, and she's like, man, it looks so devilish. Why do you like this? You know, why do you like this scene? I told her I love this. It is my favorite because look at Moana. You know, she's so small compared to this thing, but here she is with so much resolve and so much courage, walking towards this thing, and she's like, you know, I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm from. You know, nothing's going to move me, right? And I'm going to face this thing. And for me, this is courage. And she laughs at me because I have a 19-month-old daughter now as well. And when we watch Moana, I try to kind of like tell my son and her as like a moment to teach. Like, oh, see what she's doing? You know, she's so brave and stuff like that. But when I saw this, I thought, this is the visual of what bravery is. And as a female entrepreneur, I can relate with Moana doing this in my business. Right. I also like this line from I.T.S. Life shrinks or expands in proportion to one's courage. So I guess this is part of my philosophy and my belief that, you know, it's really up to you what's going to happen in your life. And if you start a business, you need to have that core belief. You need to know why you started, and so that when things happen, you can go back to why. What is the purpose of why you exist? You know, what is your purpose as a person? What is your purpose as a business? Right? Like right from the very beginning, that kind of formed for us. Like for Greenhouse, I said, I didn't want to start another advertising agency where commercial companies just come and want us to design and do these things, and all they want to do is sell to consumers without a care or thought about the consumers. I said, I want to use my abilities and my skills and my know-how to be able to help other businesses or other agencies that make a direct impact with communities, create communication materials. Like, for example, we worked with a project wherein we built materials like videos and fact sheets for building safety and resilience for small businesses, or worked with like Fiji Women's Fund to create materials to talk about there's only less than 1% of grant funding that comes to Pacific women's organizations in all of the funding from the world, so that we can get perhaps more funding to women's organizations. These are the types of projects that we work for. This is the type of studio or agency that I wanted, something that inspired change, not just something to sell. So this was me in the early days, as you can see in 2014, going from coffee shop to coffee shop, meet clients for meetings because we had no meeting rooms. And finally, when we kind of the second bedroom of our place, we made into a little office. My son was always part of the business, you know. And certainly that's how Greenhouse was. I started because I said there needs to be a better way of having a work-life integration. So, you know, for Greenhouse, mothers, fathers, you know, you get 3-month paternity leave as well if you're a dad. You can leave at whatever time you want. We don't stamp at 8 o'clock. It's all about, you know, you have deadlines for your work, finish your work, you need to pick up your child. You know, that's part of your life. You know, that's the type of business I wanted, and certainly it gives you, you become the boss of your own company, right? So you can reset the rules. Right. So I think another important thing for me is always to remember gratitude. I told you earlier that, you know, in the beginning, I read all the books that I felt like I needed to read, and I talked to a lot of people. I'm very grateful to all those people, you know, in our journey, in my journey as a person, into helping me, you know, where I stand today. My husband, my support, my family, everyone who helped and gave advice, you know, to the business. And I think it's very important to not lose track of this gratitude, because without gratitude, you won't have humility. And if you don't have humility, then you will have the arrogance to think that you know everything, you know, and no one knows everything. Even the people who know everything will say that I can learn something from somebody. Right. So this one, oh, okay. So it's just a GIF. I like this very simple image where about gratitude. That really it's all about which way you look. Yeah, like. You know, for this other one, she's obviously just depressed about everything. And this one's like, ooh, the wind is, you know, making my hair, you know, look more beautiful. I mean, I think gratitude is such. And if you have humility and gratitude, whatever you face, you're going to be that redheaded girl, because it's the way you look into things. Right. Oh, sorry, I forgot to put, this is Michelle Obama who said this line, where we learned about gratitude and humility, that so many people had a hand in our success. And for me, I always say, my son always teaches me things, you know. Listen, just because they're young and small doesn't mean that you can learn from them. Even a cat can give you a lesson or show you a lesson. Everything. You know, if you see life that way, then everything is just going to be a challenge, you know, not an insurmountable mountain, because you have gratitude and humility. So I always pull up this, photo because I remember how grateful I felt just receiving our very first checkbook at Greenhouse in 2014, and I'm like, wow, we're a business. And I remember sharing like an office with a photographer part-time, again, because we couldn't afford, to pay so much. It's very expensive in Suva to pay rent. Right, so these are just some of the books that I have kind of read over the years, and they've really helped in so many different ways. Give ideas, talk about it with other entrepreneurs and other people in our networks. And yeah, perhaps The Lean Startup is one of, a really good book that I got, my hand into reading, because it talks about how you don't have to perfect your product or your service. It talks about just creating a very simple prototype to test and get feedback from your actual market before you use so much money into your business. It talks about starting lean. It's that kind of mentality. That's why we stayed in our second bedroom in our flat for many years, because we're like, we don't need a fancy office. All we need is a place to work from. It's thinking lean and working with what you have. Like, it really helped, in terms of encourage us in our path. Another favorite of mine here is Good to Great by Jim Collins, because this book, basically, it's a group of researchers led by Jim Collins, and what they did was, they researched all the most successful companies in the US and found out what were those things that made these companies not just good, but push them to greatness. And some ideas you think, oh, that's far-fetched. I'm only a small SME, a small business. But it really opens up your mind about the possibilities, and even the smallest things about finding the right people right from the start is very important. So hire slow and fire fast, things like that. Or being positive or too positive. What is that? I forgot the term now, but being too positive is a killer. You have to look at the brutal facts and face them, but have hope that you're able to overcome these brutal facts and challenges. It was just very eye-opening, having the humility to keep learning from everything. Right. So obviously this would be my last, because so grit, all G's, so you could remember. Grit, guts, right? And what was the second one? Gratitude and great support. Great support. So this is your friends, your family, people who support you and believe in what you're doing. Surround yourself with them. Go to where there's networks of other entrepreneurs who are facing the same issues as you are, because there's greatness in collective strength, and you think you're small, but when you're together, you are mighty, And not only you should surround yourself with those people that are your supporters, you should also support others. Do not forget that. Right, this is just, I found this really funny because it talks about how men don't understand how girlfriends are, like how girl best friends are. And so, when you have really great girl best friends and you don't feel good, you feel ugly, this is what they do. Listen, you are a goddess. A goddess. You smell like flowers. You are so pretty, I could die. They're like so supportive that at the end, you think you're a goddess. There are going to be days you already know if you're in business, there are going to be days where you don't want to get out of bed because you feel like, I can't pay my FA bill today or something, whatever it is. Because, we use that for capital. There's going to be days and you will need support outside of yourself. And it's more than faith as well. Some of us have that faith and belief, God is going to be there. And for me, that's certainly strong for me too. I believe in that. But surrounding myself with people like these true friends and true support really helps in that journey and helped us in our journey. So apart from that, I also want to talk about, as a female entrepreneur, I didn't realize that there were so many opportunities out there of different agencies and organizations that want to help you in your journey as an entrepreneur. Guys, I'm sorry, like most of the examples in these photos are for female entrepreneurs, but there are also other grants and network opportunities that both for female and male entrepreneurs. But this one is the Changing Faces Leadership Seminar for female entrepreneurs, for startups. And I was very blessed to have been chosen to attend in Hawaii in 2014, like the year I started. And so they help female entrepreneurs for 2 weeks. You get training, you met with a mentor, but more so of the training, and you talk with other businesses there, Pacific businesses, and you meet other female entrepreneurs from Asia Pacific, so that you can see, what are they doing, and how can you leverage off each other to help each other in your business. This one is the Vital Voices Global Ambassador Program. It is also for female entrepreneurs. And this one is global. So the one that I attended in 2016 was only for the Asia Pacific region, but since then, they've expanded to usually every year just accepting any female entrepreneur from around the world. It's great in terms of networking, because all of a sudden you're part of a global network of not just female entrepreneurs, but other people who are willing to help you in your challenges, that you're not alone, that you can get better in what you're doing in your business. So this was in 2016. Like I've never met anyone from Mongolia. I met someone from Mongolia. The same organization, Vital Voices, which was started by Hillary Clinton, by the way, they have another program called VV Grow for businesses that have already started, but they're ready to move up to their next level of business. And if you apply and get into the application, it's like a 1-year program, fellowship. And you, with 40 other women from around the world, you do webinars, and then they give you advice in what you're doing. They help you with a strategic plan. And so, yeah, I've never met anyone from Nigeria. I met someone from El Salvador. I mean, but your commonalities, I mean, the barriers that you face, it's all very similar. So this one is for both men and women. As you can see, it's more so for social enterprises, because the Greenhouse Studio considers itself as a social enterprise. So this is for all kinds of leaders in Asia Pacific. So the Obama Foundation started the Asia Pacific Leaders Program. 2 of us from Fiji were very lucky to have gotten in. These are all the Pacific representations. Obviously, there were 200 in the class, but obviously the Pacific Islanders found themselves, right? And took photos. So many photos. So these are all not just business people, but everyone from different fields. And it's all about values-based leadership, because business people are leaders too. You're job creators. You are helping solve a problem if you're a social entrepreneur. And I think this is the most recent one that I just came back this Wednesday. The Pacific Connect dialogue is like 2-day dialogues, and they have different themes, and not just for entrepreneurs as well, but for everyone in the Pacific and Australia, and try to help solve problems in the Pacific. So I wanted to show you these examples because there are opportunities out there. All you have to do is get in there and meet people, find out who can help you and how you can help them as well, because your expertise is not their expertise. Right, so Will Smith. I think everybody knows Will Smith. If you're not making someone else's life better, then you're wasting your time. Your life will become better by making other people's lives better. This is certainly part of our philosophy in our business, and myself too as a person. And I wanted to say that because when you talk about great support, it's not just about you. You also have to support others. This is my team, the Greenhouse Studio. So we've grown Only 2 boys. We want to be more gender equal, but somehow we end up with more women. And we moved to our new space just last year, which was a big milestone because it took us 5 years to move from our flat to an actual space that's just us. Right. So I wanted to put this up because when I read this post from our senior designer, I thought to myself, this is part of our legacy, you know, at Greenhouse. This is why we exist. People, like our people understand why we exist as a business, why we're here. And that's why I wanted to share that with you. Okay, so I want to put this up because like people ask, oh, your children probably feel like this, that you're a mom and you do all these other things, but nobody is a superwoman or a superman. You all need other people in your village, in your community, for you to help and for them to help you. And this is why I wake up every day, and I wanted to share that with you. It keeps me going with grit because of my family. There's 4 of us now. Mayari arrived 20 months ago, and that's Maui there. And I wanted to end with my photo of the family because they keep me going. Last slide. The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. I think when you're an entrepreneur and you want to start a business, you are the unreasonable man or woman. Because some people will tell you, oh, I don't think that'll really work. Or why don't you just keep working in your 8 to 5 desk, right? I mean, you're certainly going a different way. But remember this in times that you question yourself. Thank you very much for listening to me this afternoon. I really appreciate it. Vinaka.
Right, thank you very much, Maria. Thank you very much. Okay, can we just give a round of applause again, please? Right, as you can see there, that's her website. Is that your website? Okay. Right, if you're interested, you can get in touch through that website and connect with Greenhouse. Thank you very much. We have Mr. Munoz, the gentleman that had opened our entrepreneurial fair on Monday, and I'm sure a lot of the people that are sitting in this room are looking forward to your presentation, Mr. Munoz, and on South Pacific business development and how they could get connected with microfinancing and so forth. So, Mr. Munoz, I'd like to welcome you again. For the second part again during this entrepreneurial workshop. And welcome to the university. Could we just give Mr. Munoz a round of applause, please? Okay. No questions for Maria? Anybody would like to ask a question to Maria? All right.
What is your turnover?
Oh, okay.
Okay, Maria, go ahead.
Okay, so we started with less than 70,000 in 2014. Now we're reaching almost 500,000 a year. Yeah. Thank you.
So that's good, 500,000. Okay, we'll just open questions. Sorry for that. Anybody want to ask another question to Maria? Well, she's here, remember. It's a very difficult thing to get a person like Maria to come and talk to us. Any other question?
Just one other.
All right.
Thank you. Which gender you get more business from?
Women or men?
I don't think there's any more men or any women because different companies or different organizations have many groups of different people. Although I have to say that because I am very active in the in the gender empowerment space. We've worked with like 3 or 4 development agencies that are focused on gender empowerment, like UN Women, Pacific Women, Fiji Women's Fund. Although I don't think that, you know, there's technically more men or more women over the years that we've worked.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will invite you to join SME.
Yeah, just for information, Maria, Mr. Humphrey Chang is the CEO or manager of SME organization, SME Pacific. Yeah. All right. Any other question? I see a hand at the back there.
I just would like to ask, why are we just referring to woman, or I would say female, more than men?
There's no particular reason. When I started Greenhouse, I wasn't thinking, oh, we're going to work more with women or we're going to work more with men. It wasn't like that. It was just because as a female entrepreneur, I think experiencing the same barriers is understood by other female entrepreneurs. So I joined the Women Entrepreneurs Business Council so I could meet other female entrepreneurs who are going through the same thing. But I didn't just join WebC, I also joined the Youth Entrepreneurs Council, which is both for men and women. It's just that there are opportunities that I showed you that are specifically for female entrepreneurs, and I was able to get into those because I'm a woman. You know what I mean? I don't know the other opportunities because I have not joined those opportunities. There are plenty out there that's both for men and women. I just gave examples from my own experience.
Perhaps we'll get Mr. Munoz to answer that during his time. All right, Mr. Munoz, we'd like to welcome you again. Okay, a round of applause for this gentleman, please.
Thank you, Semi. Where's my... Hello.
Sorry.
Okay. That's it. Okay. So, again, I want to introduce myself. I'm Rico Munoz from the South Pacific Business Development in Fiji. I'm the general manager. So, for today, we will be talking about our organization and our different programs and how we approach about helping budding entrepreneurs bloom. This is the main topic of our. Doesn't move. Okay. Okay. So the agenda of my session is very short. I have only 5 topics. So of course we start with our reason for existence. So just like any other presenters that we have since day one, you start with answering the question, why? And then number 2 is our vehicle for outreach. It's the how. And then the number 3, the enterprise development program. It's the what. And then the number 4 and 5 is the more specific ones in how we assist entrepreneurs who are just budding and also entrepreneurs who are blooming. So we liken ourselves that an enterprise is like a plant that starts from a seed and then it blooms into a nice flower. So a reason for existence. So as you can see, I don't have to read it, but we just look at the keywords there that we are about in the improvement of the quality of life of underprivileged families so that they can move out of poverty. By our means is about providing meaningful economic opportunity. And then, as you can see in the second paragraph, we are especially focused on empowering women. Okay? and especially on starting, growing, and maintaining micro businesses by providing access to financial and business development services. In the end, we want to see our members having financial security such that they are able to build assets, improve their their homes, and also send their children to school. So I think there was a question already earlier, why only women? Why are we so gender biased? We are saying that we are addressing already an existing gender bias, especially in the Pacific. The existing predominant culture, predominant way of even the formal, institutions and other businesses environment is always biased for men, and they usually marginalize the women. So if you look at the seesaw, when I say balance, it's not balanced anymore. We start with actually the men having better weights, and the women are light. They're not really considered serious entrepreneurs. They don't have assets. They are always dependent to their spouses. And some countries, in fact, when they get married, their surname is the first name of their husbands. So that's how it is in the Pacific. So now, 20 years ago when we started SPBD, we said, okay, we focus on the women so that the seesaw will balance. At least we are contributing to balancing it so that it's now balanced between the men and the women. And then, number two, it's not only about balancing. We also see that the women, especially a married woman, they are our gateway in assisting the households. We're not saying that we're only benefiting the women, but because if we are able to benefit the women, improve their economic conditions, it's not only actually the person itself, but the whole family. We see it as an entry point towards helping the whole household through the woman. So that's our two reasons why we are focusing on the women. And then number two, of course, is our vision. We look at, later on, we will have a network. So it's not only like an organization just one, but a network of financially self-sufficient and scalable micro-enterprise development organization. We are emphasizing actually in self-sufficient. One, because we are not an NGO. We are not also a government agency. We are not funded by any multilateral or bilateral organization. We stand on our own. We are a social enterprise. When we talk about social enterprise, we're saying that we have two bottom lines. Not only the financial bottom lines, meaning to say that we have to earn and profit so that whoever are our investors are able to say that there's a return on their investments. But also, equally important is the social bottom line. We are measuring actually whether our members, our beneficiaries, our clients are actually moving from this stage of level of poverty up. Are they moving up or going down or just the same? We're saying that we are successful as a social enterprise if they are moving up. And we have an objective tool to use that. We call it the Progress of Out of Poverty Index. So we are the only organization here in Fiji who's looking at it not on, on just saying one story as if it's the story of all, but we are looking at the statistics to prove that we are really doing something to improve the lives of our members. Okay, where are we now? So SPBD actually is not only a one country operation. We started in Samoa, then moved to Tonga, and then the third country operation is in Fiji, and then we moved to Solomons, and 2 years ago we are in Vanuatu. So we are now really South Pacific. So almost all the major countries of the South Pacific have country operations of SPBD. In Fiji, we are here. We have 6 branches. We are in Suva, Laucala, Singatoka, Raki-Raki, Lambasa, and Savu-Savu. So these branches are actually reaching out also to the different villages. We are now in 400 villages all over these islands: Vitilevu, Vanuatu, Ovalau, Tavioni, Rambi, and even Kiowa. That's our latest island outreach. And then, these are the people we have helped. We have 900 members. We don't call them clients. We call them members because we consult with them. We always, on the yearly basis, we ask them, are they satisfied with our services and program? What are the things that they need more? So we are very member-oriented organization. We listen to our members. So 100% are women, ages from as young as 17 to as old as 70. We don't say, oh, these are only the young entrepreneurs. We also have to say that even the old ones, they can still make a difference in the lives of their households and even the communities. And then out of the 900 members, 600 are borrowers. So 100%, again, women entrepreneurs in various different, we don't select for them. We don't prescribe AD businesses. It's them who decide. Trading, agricultural, fishing, handicrafts, other services, whatever they want to start up, we support them. But how do we do it? This is our vehicle for outreach. This is our vehicle for outreach. We call it a center. So the center is actually a village-based or community-based organization. Of course, all our members are women. We don't also select. It's the center. The members themselves select themselves. They have their own rules, and they also have disciplinary measures. It's all them. We just facilitate the organizing of the centers. So the center has three major officers. It's led by a center chief who does the meetings and the discipline. The center secretary does the recording and also she is also the treasurer. And then we have also the financial education facilitator. The financial education facilitator is a peer trainer counselor whom we train so that she can help the other members, do their financial diary and also manage the learnings that they have acquired insofar as financial education is concerned. So usually, if a group of like-minded women wants to enter the SPBD program, they start with at least 15. So it's a group of women, group into three groups, and then later on they can expand as many as 35 members. Right now, in Fiji alone, there are now 436 centers in the different parts of Fiji, mostly in the rural areas. Okay, what makes it work? We have been here in Fiji for the last 10 years, and we have been successful insofar as our financial bottom line and then also our social impact. And what makes us work is these 5 commitments. And I know I can see some SPBD ladies here. These are the ones that every time they meet, the first thing they recite are their 5 commitments. They recite it from memory every week for the week in and week out for the whole year. So and for us, this is actually what separates them from the rest, because this actually prepares them what's the mindset of an SPBD member. So first, it's about running and owning a revenue-generating business. So highlight business. And then discipline, attending weekly center meetings. So it's like a must. They have to
attend the meetings. If they are not able to attend, they have to explain to the center chief why. And then, of course, because this is a financing scheme, they have to pay their loan on time. So just imagine every week you will say to everyone, I shall pay the loan on time, I shall pay the loan on time. And what's the impact? We have 99% repayment rate. Just because of that one. And then honoring the center and group guarantee. This is a support group. I think Maria Rona already said that one of the things that you need is a support group. Our center is really a support group, not only in terms of providing motivation, but even during the times of hardship. You know, not all businesses are successful every day or every week. So during the hard times, the other members will support her by making sure that she's still able to pay by providing a guarantee. You need to say they will pay for her during the time that she is not able to pay. And lastly, we emphasize also investing back into the family. You know, if you earn, you should invest it back to your family by not only putting a savings, but also investing in the education of your children, and also improvement of your house, of your homes. So these are the 5 commitments of SPVD member. Every member recites that one and put that into action every day of their lives. Next, so we now focus now on enterprise development. This is our enterprise development continuum. We start with this one. We have a training wherein they will start exploring what are the things that they want to have, they want to be 10 years from now. Thinking big. It's not only like, oh, this is me, I'm so dependent on my spouse, I have only this one. We actually encourage them to think big. But of course, even think big, you start small. I think it has been emphasized also in the first day. One of the speakers said, think big, start small. We also do that. And by starting small, we provide you with a loan, 1,000 loan. It doesn't matter if you don't have any business background. It doesn't matter whether you are only a primary school graduate or even not a graduate. It doesn't matter whether you're very old or very young. It doesn't matter whether you can read or write. We say, okay, you have an idea, we support you, provided you also your members support you. In fact, the loan is approved not by us. It's approved by the members, the other members. They will say, yes, yes, we will approve that one. We know this lady because all of them are residing in the same village or community. We know this lady. She will do it. And then they will also say, yes, we approve of it. And in case she is able to have some difficulties, we will support her. That's how the members are committed to each other. Then, with this one, the informal income generating activity, we also help our members formalize. Because if it's just an informal income generating activity, it cannot be sustained in the long term. It has to be formalized. So we transform informal income generating activity into a formal enterprise. We teach them how to register a business. We teach them how to get a business license, how to file income tax returns, and all those stuff. And then strengthening, we have also provide training and even consultancy on market, financial, production, and managerial upskills. And then, if you're okay with this one, and then you have made your business really very successful, then you offer you also SME loan. The SME loan is something that from a small 1,000 loan, the SME loan can go as high as $20,000 Fijian loan. Then later on, I'll talk also about business acceleration. So from a micro loan, income generating activity, going to a formal SME level business. That's the continuum of our enterprise development. Okay, now there are two types of entrepreneurs that we're helping, the budding ones and the blooming ones. So for budding ones, these are the ones who are just started up or maybe so informal and maybe small, very small, micro. So, but that's our core program. 98% of our members are budding entrepreneurs. So this is our basic member services, okay? And these are the flow. First is about awakening. It's we have several exercises. It's in our training. We awaken their self-worth. We awaken their self-confidence. We say that you are not a useless person. You are a God's gift to everyone. And you are given time and talent to make use of that one. And there are resources that you can use around you. So she becomes aware that she has time and talent to improve herself and her family. After that is organizing. That's where we organize the center. So like-minded women in the community organize themselves into a solidarity group. They're helping each other, as I said, financially and also providing moral support to each other. The solidarity group we call a Santa. Then after that, we equip. So this is the second phase of the training, equipping them, providing them with financial education, providing them with how to plan a business. We don't just give them a form. Okay, fill up this form. I'm sorry. We handhold them to do a business plan. There's a series of questions. Do it. You know, in fact, the business proposal is also done by us by just interviewing. One thing that we always ask for the member is a handwritten proposal, what exactly she wants to do. It's only 1 or 2 paragraphs. That's how simple is our business proposal. Okay? So it revolves around her idea. And then empowering. That's the time we provide financial services. So, you know, we don't just go there in empowering. We have a lot of social preparation, personal preparation before we do the financing. So provide financial services, and financial services we have arranged. Savings. So we provide savings services. You don't have to go to our office. We bring our office to your village. That's where we do the transaction. You don't have to spend bus fares or wait in line in the queue in a bank. No way, man. We just go there and you sit there and we provide the services for you. So savings, microloan, death benefit. If you're a member, automatically you have a death benefit from 5,000 to 10,000, depending on the source on the cost of the death. Loan guarantee. The loan guarantee is guaranteed actually by the members themselves. And digital wallet. I tell you, 100% of our women knows the M-Paisa. If you will be amazed, some of these people, some of the students here do not know, they don't even use M-Paisa. 100% of our loan disbursement are through M-Paisa. So they know their digital wallet. And then 100% of our savings withdrawals are also through M-Paisa. They don't have to come to our office to do withdrawals. They will just tell our officers, I want to do a withdrawal, and then it goes to their M-Paisa wallet. And of course, hand-holding. The hand-holding is every week. Meaning to say, we visit each of the center every week, whether it's raining or shining. Sometimes if it is flooded, we still try to cross to reach the village. Sometimes if the village says, don't cross, please, you might die. We'll just do it the next week. Okay? So the ongoing financial support is through a financial diary. We have, instead of, those, what's this, highfalutin bookkeeping, accounting, we bring it down to very understandable level. We call it financial diary. Every member has a book which records every day, every week, through the whole year. And after each year, it's also replenished for free as part of the membership benefits. They are recording on the left side the business cash flow, on the right side their household expenses. So they're managing their finances not only for their business, but also for their household financing. And even if you are not a member and you are interested to learn about our financial diary, it's also available in our offices. But of course, it's not for free because you are not a member, at $10 per book. Advertisement. Okay, so we have also weekly business tips during the weekly meetings. And then, of course, business formalization. And every year since the time we opened it, SPBD in 2011, we have annual SPBD Awards. It's a grand prize giving, attended by, the last time we did it in Laucala, it was attended by 3,000 women, all members, all from the different parts of Fiji. This year, we'll be holding it, we will fill up Vodafone Arena, and most of the members are really eager for that one because we recognize the best in their class, and at the same time, at the end of the program, we party. Yeah. And sometimes I've been asking them, please bring your husband so that they will know what's going on. 90% of them don't bring their husband. They said, how can we party if we have the husband? And the party in Laucala, they party up to 4 o'clock in the morning. Woo! Now you know. And it creates actually also brand loyalty and nice experience every year that we have that one. Okay, core financing. So these are how we fund. We don't just give you funding that you cannot chew. Just like when you're a baby, when you are building up a business, it's like a baby, like Rona said. Because even my wife also has a business. She said, hey, my business is also a baby. Now we have 3 babies. Yeah. So you cannot give big morsels of food if they cannot chew it. So that's what we are also doing. It's step by step. So as I said, first ladder, loan cycle 1, $1,000, strictly for business, whether it's startup or expanding an existing business. That's the anchor of the program. You put something there. Okay, now you have a focus now. And then loan cycle 2, that's the time that, okay, now we are traveling now. Okay, by boat. Maybe Princess Lumay VT or something like that. It's still operating or it's already grounded? Okay, or maybe just a fiberglass boat, not this one. It's almost like a cruise ship. Okay, so 1,000, 1,000 seats, 1,500 to expand and diversify the business. And we also allow flexibility here. You can use some part of it for improving your houses. You can use part of it for childhood education. And we don't prescribe how much of this, how much of that. It's you. Because we believe that you can now, after all our training and everything, you can now do the budgeting also for your loan, how to manage your loan. Then, after that, will be subsequent loans, up to from 2,000, even up to 7,000. To expand or diversify businesses, improve the house, and also for education of the children. This is also the time that we provide supplemental loans. These are the white goods loans. This is in partnership with the Courts Fiji. So they provide discounted products for the SPBD members. So instead of doing high purchase, because in the first place they cannot qualify high purchase, they don't have the payslip. Remember high purchase? Payslip, where is it? They have none. So it's us, through us, they are able to access these white goods loans. So for the appliances, not only for their homes, but also improving their business. I saw one lady who got a white goods loan, and she used it for, purchasing from course the full package of a baking machine. It's all there. Now she's selling in Sabu-Sabu, selling bread, hot bread, to the village. And then higher education loan. This is for the tertiary loans of the children, of the siblings, or herself. She wants to improve herself through higher education, higher education, then she can have a loan as well. And then after on the 3,000, there's a crossroad there, 3,000 loan. They will say, can I now go jump to SMD, which is much higher loan, which I will talk about, or just continue until 7,000. So this is for the budding entrepreneurs. We say, think big, start small. Failure is just a lesson learned. So don't worry if you fail. In fact, we are the only financing institution that even if your business failed, we still give you a loan so that you can get up again, maybe do another business, and then move on. Because the business failure before will be a good lesson for you, what to do next time around. Okay, blooming entrepreneurs. So from the budding to the blooming. Okay, the Fiji Bloom program. So this Fiji Bloom program, we just launched it last year, and we found this is a very successful supplemental program on top of our core program. So this is the 4 components. Business formalization, as I said, transforming the informal to formally registered licensed businesses. Here, now we don't teach them. We do it for them. You know, because even if you teach them, they will say, oh, so hard. Going here, going there, going there. You know already, if you have been doing this informalization, it's just tremendously overwhelming. Going from one office to another, queuing for one whole day, and then later on, oh, these documents are wrong, you have to come back and again. So we said, let's cut the red tape. We do it for them. And then we negotiate with the government agencies, and they were able to attend to us. Like, for example, ROC. They now registered SPBD as ROC agent because in the span of just 6 months since we started this last year, we were able to register businesses, 1,700 businesses. And they were so amazed. How can you do that? Because he said, we have a base. And all we have to do is, now they now have one staff there dedicated only for the SPBD members. And even in tin alignment, doing this one-time code for the one-time PIN for FIRCA, they have also dedicated 2 persons to do that just for SPBD members. So through us, we're able to facilitate things without you going the runaround. We tested this actually, when we started this, whether this is workable, we tested it in a far-flung area, Rambi. You know where Rambi is? You can point it in the map. So we started in Rambi, and it tested very positive that the Rambi women didn't even go to Sabu-Sabu. They just stay there. We bring the government agencies to Rambi Island, and then they do the orientation and do the forms. They fill it up, and then after 1 or 2 months, they got their licenses. So how good can that be in terms of formalization? So we wanted to break the barriers so that there's no fear of the informal entrepreneurs going formal. And then SME preparation. Remember the previous graph that it will end there. Am I going to SME or not? So we also provide a bridge, the SME preparation. We don't just push them off the cliff. Okay, now you're ready, push the cliff and let you fly. We don't do that. So from 3,000, we'll tell you, are you ready? Of course, you will say yes because it's a bigger loan. But in order to do that, you go through this process, business diagnostics. So we develop a simple business diagnostics tool to assess your business. Entrepreneurial capacity. We also have a tool to assess your entrepreneurial capacity that you will see whether there's still something lacking with you, which you can build up. And then we do cash flows analysis. One of the things that you have, if you are not yet an SME or even an entrepreneur, one of the things, if you're very small, cash is king. Always remember that. This is your major problem, how to manage the cash. There's always money for paying EFL, paying your rent, paying your staff. So cash flow analysis, and of course, a more forward one, 3-year business planning. So we do this in a workshop together with some business consultants so that they're able to prepare a more formal business plan moving forward. Then they have the SME loan, which bridges that gap. The SME loan is from 8,000 to 20,000. 1-year term, weekly payment, still weekly payment. So it's still affordable. And then business development services. Now that you have an SME loan, we provide this. Marketing support. Later on, we do also food, health, and safety standardization because most of our women are into food-based business, food-related business. It could be agricultural foods or processing of foods or handling of food. There are a lot of things there. So we say that we have to also be serious with this one because just one complaint from the client, from the customer, your business will just go down. And then tax and regulatory compliance, and of course resource linkages. We are just one cog in the wheel. There are a lot of other resource agencies out there who can do much more than us. So what we do is we link our members to these resource agencies so they can make full use of the benefits of their programs. And lastly, business acceleration. This is a very specialized program. You don't have to go abroad. It's here in Fiji. Okay? It's a 6-month program. The first cohort, I can see some faces, the first cohort are here. And they can testify with you how they have improved their businesses. So it's a combination of formal training, monthly formal training, workshops, one-on-one coaching. We don't use the word mentoring. We use the word coach because the rugby coaching is more applicable to us. How to make champions out of you? You need a coach. You don't need a mentor. Right. And then, of course, investors linkaging. Later on, we will say that at the end of their program, they will do a presentation. We will actually, all of them will be trained by Toastmasters, so they can come up with a 2-minute presentation of what their business are in front of potential business investors, so that they will say, the investor will say, yes, I like your idea. We'll support it. We'll invest it. We'll invest on you. So that's the business acceleration for you. So if some of you here, maybe you are more of a supporters of entrepreneurs rather than entrepreneurs, you can support our entrepreneurs through crowdfunding. This is what we do also. We do crowdfunding online. We have 2 partners. One is worldwide, the biggest the biggest in the world, Kiva. This is the link. It goes immediately to all the ones in Fiji. That's why. So you don't get lost, because here it's worldwide, so a lot of entrepreneurs, they're looking for funding. But this one, partner number 562, that's SPVD Fiji. And the other one, more local, in the Oceania, Good Return. It's based in Sydney, Australia. It's actually a project of World Education Australia. So you can go to that one, and then you can see the ladies there are members, and then pitching for their businesses, what they need and what they're doing right now. And by the way, these are loans, okay? These are not donations, which means if you support this, the loans will go back to you. We don't guarantee it, but remember, our repayment rate, 99%. So we can say that 99% of your loans will go back to you. Okay, that's all. Vinakapakalevu.
Right. Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Munoz. I think we're really happy that he is here, knowing that that presentation was really well received by practically everyone here. Okay. Is there any question that we would like to ask? Mr. Humphrey?
All of us heard you talk about the mechanics of your organization. What we did not hear from you is tell us some of the success stories, and also tell us those who have graduated from nothing to something. Thank you.
You know, as I thing, right? So I now invite some of the ladies here who attended. I didn't even ask them to come, but they are here. Vani, please. Vani, yeah, Vani is already is a participant of a business accelerator program.
Right, just explain to us the success story, how you started, how much money you loaned, and the profits that you had, eh? Okay.
Bulavinaka, my name is Wani. I'm from Benga, and my mother's from Kandavu. I'm married in Vatualau.
Oh, yeah. The mga that are not married.
I have 6 children. My eldest is a boy who's schooling now at FNU, and thanks to help from SPBD, that's one loan I applied for my son to take a study at FNU. And the rest is still in primary and secondary. I start from buying and selling fish. As I come and learn here, the passion is one of the things. That's the thing that comes from me, the love of my children. Because my husband is a diver, a fisherman, and I'm not working. And I see the children, because I came from a very struggling family, not a rich one. And I know the struggle I have to face for my children. That's the person I came from me, and I have to find a way to support my children and my husband, who is the only bread giver in my family. I start with 8 bundles of fish. As for me, I'm not comfortable to come and sell the fish or stand in the fish market. The first time I came with 8 bundles. My husband is a diver, and I heard about some people come and sell fish. One of my auntie, who already in the business, told me, "Why can't you try?" Then I asked my husband, "Just give me 8 bundles of fish." That's the beginning of my journey. I used to pay the taxi from Navua to Suva to come and sell the fish. the first time I feel uncomfortable to come and sell in the fish market because that's not my life. And the things, once the weeks go on, I have the courage to stand up, and I have the quality. I know that I can face the people to come around for me, and just my smile makes the people come and buy my fish. And that's the beginning of my story. The first time I used to, every time I come to sell in Suva fish market, I used to hire a taxi from Navua, from my home to Suva, which is cost $50. And from that time, I joined the SPBD. Thanks to SPBD, it's one of the organizations that helped me, train me to become who I am today. From that taxi, I buy a second-hand van. And not only that, I buy a car now. I own a car. And I send my children to school, which is FNU. And also, I improve my house. Now I'm, from that 8 bundles of fish, now I'm supplying up to 100 bundles a week. And that's what SPBD giving me, the training, the courage, and the passion and the love for my children. And for me, I always tell my children, from where I come from, I don't want one of you to go back there. From running to the bus, now you just go and get inside the car. For me, I know what going to school without food, but now you just ask me, Mom, I want to eat chicken, I want to eat fish, whatever, drink milk, I can afford you. But I think SPBD, from that poor background, now I'm one of the business association where Rico, I'm one of the 10th who's doing the Fiji Bloom now. That's it.
Thank you very much. Very inspiring story indeed. Eh? Thank you. Yes, could I have another one?
Yeah, the other one is the lady who came to me here, complaining to me.
Lena, please.
Yeah, that I should be in Laucala because there's a training that's required by SPBD, and if I cannot get that training, I'll get a loan. I said, stay put because you will learn much more here, and then I'll make an arrangement how to do that.
She's sitting right there.
Come over, please. Sorry if I put you and stuff because this gentleman here asked for some food.
My name is Elena Tinai. I'm from Webola Sakastele. I'm Webola Sakastele, staying in Laucala, married in Numa Kitana Laumera. I started SPBD in 2013. My business is fishing and selling fish at Laucala Wharf. I used to go out fishing 1 night, 2 nights out in the sea, come back and sell the fish. 2013, I applied for 1,000 loan. 2014, I applied for 1,500. And 2019, I applied for the SME loan, which is 9,600. Will be finished on September 2020. In that SME loan, I upgraded my property, my house, and now I'm planning to buy a boat and an engine to upgrade my business.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lena.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay, any volunteer because you have to volunteer. I don't want to put you on spot. Raise your hand, SPBD member, anyone who wants to talk about their experience. Oh, there's the one.
Okay, coming.
from Telugu.
Yeah, Telugu.
Yeah. Okay. You know, I'm going to speak to my mother's own tongue. Nazangu ngao anarnandi, au maramani mburerua pakawachindora kormena nanu. O ni tauta ako endo ungoli. Manangau na ndo ungoli tukina kondo ukaratunga. Histenga na wangabinaka histenga na injini. Au sangai durumai na rasurecheu na maramai mburele busenta. Mau durumai na isong-song ni SPBD. Materi kamadanga au bolendo na injini ni tauta. Materi nungu londo nundolu. Na lebu nungu saving karo nungu loan. Olon takaro nundoli munan rau. Sindandon medikan don mendon nundolu ngali munan rau. Na pinaka nungu saving nungu elon takina nundoli munan rau. Bolendo na injini ni tauta. Katal ngandong goli lawa. Nangona sando ka kambos-mbos tunala. Batana tama ni singani sa lebu nandong goli. May tay lebu. Sa sangatal ngani lebu na ikame baka iliu. Au sanga ibulen dono na labo na nungu turumanga ni songo-songo marotaka. Marotaka turumakin na songo-songo sa palaga metin hallelujah. Batani sa mata ngusungo na tukuna. Praise the Lord, eh? Kaya baka nga isang anak kalo, rongoda. Ikasang tandola pa nakalondara ka tumabanggobi ko meron na duruma. May nangunan rendre ko laga duruma kina. Kaya isang anak namu masulob, wana namu kalo ko isang barotaka. Praise the Lord, ako barotaka. Praise the Lord, ko sa pagkatalin doon tukunialo. Sang kita may Netherlands, ba't kita ungarapat ko na kalo. Praise the Lord, Netherlands power. Au tukuna tukuna no Netherlands power, ba't na dabi irada maraman turang tele sarang garbi kalo chuko. Kem sa sarabat chuko non rabula luwi kay mami. Hallelujah, umantang tukuna pa na makumbungu famon na chuko may Londoni. Garaba sarba binaka na kalo luto binaka matirto no momor to chingchingan na kalastibal na bit sa may sangat teltian. Au biya tukuna nga ni ko na binaka ni kalo na ko endola pa na katumbanggo. May nanganon den dala ko turu mangan dola ba ko ne SPBD. Jene ninda na so marangwa ta untuk na birto nombor lebu senta. Kaya pa kaun jene uci ko rangwa ta bodi bura bodi lamalang nakal na terni kaya ko sangan ni soma. Batang ko na munjenau. Ko sabi buke macam lamang ko soma lesu. O baka binibina katakina na SPBD o kala ni kerong guys sa tabagandua. Ando ule manangon la katini kaya ali chugombos. Iya. Au menangon di ko salon ta katolon dolu limanan raw. Au boleh na injini tauta, au boleh nona wanga, au boleh telangan nona lawa. Koren ko toles tol cunga mani labo. Bate so bikianda tukuna cungin rende na SPBD. Bate no tornei labo andor banget mukan bisnisi. Ongale pam, ongale zab kana boci musui. Sanggo sangen di kone na kini labo ya. Au kala le bikianda sangen tukuna cungin lamo do. Gondori songo. Kau tu bikin tanah lemah dan baltan ada apa? Nak pakai angat tegazala. Kau temen ni lapang kau, maka tumbur kenum bisnisi. Soleh pam nuluna, soleh baci sui, baci bom ya kau latu. Siang aku anak kau tu bikin lemah dah. Kau kapan dolungan nak kau? Tahu rekin ni lapang kau, ikut siang kapan itu kau nangusum lemah dah. Baltan apa pakai angat tangan donu. Siang anak baci kau lah, sini tu biar dan baci mukau lah. Nak kalau nak biar nggak masuk menum bisnisi. Saya kaya. Sekarang anu kebe barai takan ikua. Takaman donung anu muter nela takap kinum bisnisi. Lebih cingakin anak kelu.
There you have it. Can we just give another round of applause, please? All right, so if you look at the screen, there was one aspect of Mr. Munoz's presentation that really got me thinking. Yeah, you know, this the crowdfunding part. Eh? Yeah, just for your interest, members, crowdfunding is a big international funding agency where you can actually apply for it if you have a good business idea. All right, crowdfunding, yeah? It has assisted people with startups, with money, and they have gone on to be very successful. We have people from overseas who we have invited through the years, and most of their startups have come from crowdfunding. Yeah, okay, you know, when they started their business, they didn't have any funds, so they have applied for crowdfunding, and some have gone on to millions of dollars. I remember last year we had one Mr. Stuart Anderson, who invented the flow hive. Right, and within a couple of weeks, he was able to raise a couple of millions of dollars to start his business through crowdfunding. It was funded by crowdfunding. Yeah? So if you have that business idea, and then we're going on towards the end of the workshop this week, you can come up with a business plan, how to start and so forth, and I can give you the link to crowdfunding. Yeah? We can ask for crowdfunding to actually get started with your business idea. Eh? All right, so we'll just give another round of applause for Mr. Munoz again. Okay. Right. We are so fortunate that we also have the representative from the Fiji Development Bank. They're also here, and they are going to take us through the last sessions. And probably we will finish off with the Ministry of Industry and Trade with the business plan. And we will just invite the representative from Fiji Development Bank to please come forward, right, with their presentations. I believe it's already here, all right? And can we just give a round of applause to this gentleman here? To give us more idea about obtaining SME loans, eh? And I'm sure FDB will be even better than SPPD. Bigger and better. Go.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all. I think as I entered, the speakers before me were very exciting, and everybody was clapping and yelling and shouting. I hope I can maintain that rhythm and get people shouting and yelling with what I have to present. But FDB is not competing with SPBD. We are complementing each other, and we are so fortunate, so proud to be associated with SPBD. I think together we're making life for so many people easier and enjoyable. And it's so nice to hear when people come up with these lovely stories. And we are proud to be associated with SPBD. Thank you. I must thank USP for allowing FDB to make this presentation today for the Pacific Entrepreneurship Fair for 2020. I am Ramesh Chan, and I'm the Regional Manager Central Eastern based in Suva. My slides and my presentations are more of, I'll try to make it interactive so that we can all share our ideas and share our visions. You can interrupt me as I go along. If you feel there's some clarity required, please do interrupt me. I'm here to answer those questions. If I am unable to answer some, I got my two colleagues, and I also got Enrico Manu here, who is well aware of what we do. So we all will try and answer your questions as to the best of our abilities. We have a short video, but before that, I just want to talk about entrepreneurship, the basics. My understanding is that apart from entrepreneurs already here, there are some students, maybe some aspiring entrepreneurs, some people who might be thinking of going into business. That's what we are targeting. So if I come to you very close and look into your eyes, and I should be able to see a sparkle. If I don't see it now, probably I'll see it in a few minutes or 5 minutes time when I go over with some other slides. But what that signifies to me is that just because you have that drive in entrepreneurship, that's why you are here today. That's the testimony that you are all interested in entrepreneurship or are entrepreneurs. That's why you are sitting here today. Sorry, I forgot to do this. I got carried away probably in the first. So that's my contents. I was just highlighting my content. After this, there is a biodigester video which we will play. And then we will talk about entrepreneurship quality. The biodigester which we are talking about is not something that we are promoting, but it's something we got out from internet, and we think that it makes it's going to make life easier for so many people. It's just a example of a simple technology which can be used to make life so much easier for so many ordinary people and rural population. That's what we want to try to show in that slide. Then, as I go along, I'll talk a bit about setting up your foundations when you want to be an entrepreneur. I have some ideas or what we look at or what should we include in our business plan. We deal with business plan on a daily basis, and then we just want to share some of our ideas, what we think you should put in your business plan. Not only submitting to FDB, but maybe submitting to SPBD or any other organization. Apart from then, I'll talk about a pitch, a kind of case study where pitch is all about ability to sell your idea. So that's what, it's like a real example of how you're trying to sell your idea. I'll talk a little bit about the investment cycle. And then last, I'll talk about the funding opportunities and incentives available for SMEs at FDB. And then we can also have question and answer session at the end. Eh? So how do I play this? Oh, it's there.
Small-scale anaerobic biodigester for a twofold purpose. The first being methane gas production, which is a natural biogas that can help fuel cooking and also to power a backup electric generator. The second benefit is that it produces an effluent which will be great fertilizer for an organic garden. It's very nitrogen rich and nutritious. So the way that this works is quite simple. We started off with a manure and water base, which will get the correct bacteria going. After about 4 weeks' time, we will start adding once a week our kitchen waste, so scraps of vegetables and fruits just straight into the biodigester and then seal it off again. This will produce a methane gas, like I said, which will start coming up out through this tubing that we've made, which is airtight, of course. And right now it is going to this inner tube for storage. So it's just going straight into there for storage. If I were to open up this valve, then that would go into this water filtration system. So the methane gas could flow through this tubing and be filtered in the water, and then methane gas comes out a little bit more purified on this side for the cooking and the generator and things like that. The second benefit I talked about, which was the effluent, that will come out of this pipe once you've opened this, and you can use that for your organic gardening. This is just an overflow safety precaution. So that's about the size of it. Thanks for watching.
Exciting, isn't it? I think there must be so many very smart people, very engineered, talented people here who can come up with this kind of technology very easily and make life much easier for so many people. And I'm pretty sure USP has got some very talented people who can come up with this, not this idea, but so many other kind of simple but very helpful ideas that will make life easier for rural people or the outer islands. That's the whole intention of the video. But before I go into the nitty-gritty of entrepreneurship, let me talk to you something about Fish Development Bank. Let me introduce the bank. The bank is a government-owned entity. It is about my age, 51 years old, has been in existence for 51 years old, has been helping so many people, has made life so much easier for so many people. I don't think it has made life difficult for anybody. We have about 5,000 customers at the moment, active accounts, and the difference between FDB and commercial bank is that we mainly trying to focus on agriculture, but that doesn't take away from helping other corporate and other SMEs or other industries. But the very reason we take more risk in terms of agriculture funding is that unique feature in us that makes us different from other commercial banks or like Westpac, INZ, or Bank of Baroda. Apart from that, FDB is also working towards this GCF facility. It's a accredited GCF funder, and I think earlier this week when FDB's annual report was submitted to in the Parliament, the Honourable Minister, Mr. Seruratu, stood up and said, as a champion of the climate change, he was talking about having solar panels on top and having crops below it. This is something we talk about when talking about innovative ideas, and this is what the technology is taking us through, having this kind of projects, and we are glad to be involved in this kind of projects. I must tell you that FDB is probably involved with 50% of agriculture funding in Fiji. We probably share more than 90% of market share in the sugarcane belt. And apart from agriculture, we have made so many famous stories of large entities as well. But please do remember that when we talk about the risk, and being part of an enterprise, it's also important that FDB also focuses on SME and corporate, and we are also involved in the business such as wholesale, retailing, manufacturing, hotel, construction, development, professional services such as medical, lawyers, accountants, or any other professional services operating legally, and it's a viable option. Yeah? Our mandate as a development bank is an enabler. We take this idea of the biodigester and this solar energy concept and trying to mobilize all our facilities, most of our facilities, in trying to fund this kind of projects. So we are glad to look at projects of this nature. We have 12 branches in Fiji, 6 in Vitilevu, 5 in Vanuatu, and we are also in Taveuni. FDB is, we look at people who start very small. You know, the success stories which you must have heard from SPBD, these are the stories which have turned into large companies, and some of very good examples like food specific. These people started very small. Some small entrepreneurs, they started very small, and they are quite substantial operating entity in the country at the moment. They were all through small beginnings, assistance from FDB, and ended up as large entrepreneurs. We also provide finance to small and medium providers such as taxis, hairdressers, small-scale farmers, restaurants. And the bank is also, as I said, accredited Green Climate Fund, and we try and provide, we have ability to fund up to US $10 million projects, and but based on a project-by-project basis. I think this is where the world is moving towards green climate, and the direct access entity allows FDB to be well positioned to manage its financing and support Fiji's small and medium business and corporations to implement projects that are climate resilient, ensuring the support to the grassroots level. This is a small way we're trying to make our contribution to the climate change, so to reduce the impact of climate change. Yeah? I want to talk little bit about entrepreneurship qualities, and I think your presence here today is a testimony that you are interested in being an entrepreneur, and you must understand your priority, what you want to do in life, what is your drive. Is it just that you want to do something for money only, or you want to do something for your family, you want to do something for this country, or you just want to, like for a student, you just want to start your business and want to be your own boss. You don't want to work with somebody and just do your own business. So it's all starts from small beginnings. Yeah? But before you do that, it's important that you also do a personal SWOT of yourself. SWOT is strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threat analysis of yourself. I think SWOT changes in our life as we go along. It's different when you are single, it's different when you have a girlfriend or you have a boyfriend, you are married, you are single, you are working or staying home. So for you to start that, you must do a SWOT analysis of yourself. The other very important aspect of a entrepreneurship quality is being stable. Stability is very important. And this is a stage of life where you might be coming from a very difficult background. You might have some other qualities in you which might be only relevant to you or it's unique to you. You might be very good in maths. You might be a very good strategic thinker. You might be very good at financials. But the whole idea is to be entrepreneurship, to have a number of these things. But sometimes if you don't have, it's important that you have partnership with other people or a cooperative with us so that you can make your dream into reality. You could be a slogger, you keep trying. Sometimes things don't turn out right, but you keep doing it. And this is it's all about entrepreneurship qualities. But you must also understand the risk appetite when you start a business. So it's important that you must you must understand how much risk you want to take, because you put in quite a bit of your savings into your business. The other thing I've got there is integrity. I think it's important that you must do the right thing. You want to do justice to your business. You're doing the right thing all the time, and when you're doing the right thing, you will teach other people the right thing. Your workers, your children, and that's very important for entrepreneurship quality. Yeah? We say the integrity is the foundation of any good and long-standing business relationship, whether you are starting or late in life and you are moving forward. I got there, I think, brainstorming. Brainstorming is all about your idea which you have. It's important that you give good thought to the idea. Sometimes it could be just a dream, but you need to put, it's good to dream, but we want to turn those dreams into realities. So it's important that you put a lot of thought into it. There's a distinction between dream and something that is achievable. Often we have the courage to sometimes we have proposals coming to the bank and people just think that it's possible to get a loan and but we have the courage of saying no to business plans. Same thing applies to you. When you have an idea in your head, you try and analyze it critically that it's going to work. So that it's good for you. It's for the longer term. You are absolutely sure what you want to do. And you must research your idea. You look at the problems you might face and what is the need for that project. The other thing I want to talk about is this sustainable development goal, the 21 sustainable goals. One of them is poverty alleviation. And you know that I'm going back to that slide, that video. I think that would have made so many aspiring people to try this kind of thing. But it's important that you must do the research. That lady there who must have presented must have done the research on how many households in Fiji are in poverty, how many don't have access to electricity, how many don't have household appliances. So she must have done all these things before she started that. The other thing I want to talk about is, when you have an idea, it's important that you talk to people. And the more you talk, the more ideas you get. Sometimes you are not sure whether you've covered all angles. So by talking to people, they'll give you some ideas. And it's important that you share ideas with them. Particularly maybe your friends or your mentors or some people you look high upon or your family members. There'll always be somebody who knows somebody. You know, sometimes when you want to have some things done, unless and until you talk, you will not be able to get through. And no, Fiji is a small place. Somebody knows somebody. So you talk your idea, it's going to help you out. The other thing I want to talk about is differentiation and uniqueness of your product. And some time back, I think only the iPhone and the Apple had this touch screen. But now every phone has got this touch screen thing. Somebody must have ripped that phone, got the source of doing it, and now most of the phones are having this thing. Same thing applies to your idea. It's your idea, when it's unique, you need to protect it. You make sure it's not like copied. Your idea is going to somebody. This is called like reverse engineering. Your idea or somebody else's idea has been converted to somebody else for his or her riches. And I give you a good example of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is a 100-year company, and nobody knows the mix yet. The mix are kept in different locations, but not one person knows the whole mix. So it's in different locations in a very tight security. So it's only when the mix come together, then Coca-Cola is blended and it comes out. But not one person can do it. It's so heavily guarded. And I think they want to protect that, otherwise they can go out of business. I think Pepsi tried it once, but were unsuccessful in matching the taste. The other thing I want to talk about in your setting of your foundations is amount of risk you are preparing to take. Because you are putting your sweat equity, you're putting your money in there. You might be mortgaging your house, you might be mortgaging, putting your car on stake. So it's important that you must understand the risk you are taking, and you should be absolutely sure what you are doing. You have done your research. That's we are saying. You know, you might have to convince your spouse or your girlfriend, your boyfriend to go into this venture. Similarly, when you have a goal, you must have timelines. I must achieve this at a time. When you want to sell somebody an idea, you set up goals. You set up timelines, milestones. I'll achieve this in first year. Like that lady said, started here, ended up from 12 bundles to 100 bundles. So these are the goals you set. The other one I said is protect yourself. You know, non-disclosure agreements. When you share ideas with other people, if you think you need to disclose, I mean, you protect yourself. You have those kind of ideas protected. Particularly when you're sharing ideas with other people, you are still halfway, and that some person has already used the idea and turned into a reality. So you might have to sign these kind of agreements. You know. I give you an example of the social network. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook. He was challenged in court by the brothers that the idea was theirs, not Mark Zuckerberg's. Mark Zuckerberg used their idea, and then they ended up getting in a lawsuit of $66 million. But by then, Facebook was already up and running, and everybody glued to it. I'm pretty sure some of us are already glued to it as well now. And but they got 66 million out of it. It's a small chunk of what's the real value of Facebook. That's what I'm saying. You know, somebody else's idea has been used by somebody else. It's about who has the idea, but it's about who can execute it. So that's what happened in this situation. Okay, let me talk something about business plan briefly. What we do in our business plan, and for us, business plan answers all the W's and bit of H, you know, how and who. So when you do a business plan, it's important you must know who you're selling to, who is going to be your partner, where are you going to get your finance, what is the product, where am I going to operate from, is it going to be physical sale or through online. It's important that you also build your distribution channels. So these are the things we look into business plan, and that's what you have to put into your business plan. Same thing, you must have a vision and a mission in your business plan. Are you doing this business for yourself, or sometimes some people have this passion of doing it for somebody or for some kind of organization or group, or doing it for the country? That's what it's all about. You must have a vision for it. And then you must have a timeline. You must set timelines when you're going to achieve what. So when you put a business plan, you put timelines. You also put information about product description. What is the product? What is its name? How does it differentiate from others? Does it have a patent? And you also need to do research on your market, where there is a need or not. Sometimes we also receive proposals from farmers where we see that it's not fully researched. You know, a farmer say, okay, I'll plant 10 acres of dalo, I'll do livestock, and then I'm going to pay you $15,000 in year one. We know very well that's not possible. So when you put your business plan, you make it a reality. Yes, these things are achievable, and you're trying to sell an idea. Similarly, for example, a resort. Let me take the example for Pullman. Pullman is a very well-known resort in Fiji, but still establishing itself. It's called brand pumping. It needs a bit of time to start, so that we don't expect Pullman or any other smaller resort to start with full repayments from year one. So when you're proposing, we know that a resort needs time to establish itself, get a name for itself, then probably start making payments for principal plus interest, plus all other fees and charges. Yeah? We are also interested in your marketing, sales, and strategy in your business plan. I give you example of this YY green bottled water. I think they have a very simple process of extracting water. They have this capsule, they blow it up, get the bottle, they extract the water from somewhere from Namosi side, I suppose. The factory is located somewhere in Wainandoi, I suppose. And they pass it through the ultraviolet light, kills the germs, and they bottle it and they sell it. But besides selling, there has to sell that water, they need to have good distribution channels. Otherwise, the bottle will be sitting in the factories, and you must have the right people to take it to the right shelves to be sold. Sometimes we call it pitching your idea. You know, sometimes you might have the idea, but you have difficulty in communicating. And you need assistance from other people to help you put that idea into perspective. And sometimes you might be the person doing the work, but the talking and the CEO or the real person behind the project doing the talking is somebody else. These things are good, but you must be careful in terms of whom you're engaging with. I give you an example of Google. Google, they say, started with from two. The founders of Google were orphans. They were very good analysts, but they could not put the words together. So they got other people on board, and today Google is very, very well known. We all know about Google. So they started and partnered with people, and that's how the idea came up. So from a very small idea to such a large entity, multinational entity. I'll talk a little bit about funding structure. Funding is it's all about your ability to gauge when your business starts to make money. You know, you need money to run your business. You need cash flow. So your timing must be right when you're going to start making money, so that you have adequate working capital to keep on going. You must include your financial projections, your P&L, your balance sheet, your cash flow. The P&L tells us the income and the expense. The balance sheet tells us the net worth. And the cash flow tells us about the inflows and the outflows. So we will look at all these things in the business plan. Besides that, we also want to look at your risk management plan. I think it's very important. You must know if whatever you put into paper, if it doesn't work out this way, what are the risks that's associated with? What's your second plan? If things go not the way you wanted, but it goes, there could be so many other reasons why things might, natural disasters could be one, you know, and your projections doesn't fall into place. So you must have this kind of plan in place. And lastly, in business plan, what we see is, we want to see is executive summary. Business plans could be 50 to 100 pages, and I don't think we all have the time to read the 50 to 60 pages one go. We want to see the executive summary, and that will summarize what's your idea all about. So a 2 to 3 page executive summary in business plan is very beneficial and very good. This is something I talked briefly. It's about your pitch. And I don't know if you have seen this show, Shark Tank. I haven't seen it myself, but I just heard about it. It's something like, it's like a show where you as a entrepreneur, you have your idea in your head. You're trying to sell your idea to these big investors who are sitting in that room. And you're trying to convince them to be your partner or to buy your idea. And they'll throw you all sorts of questions. Trying to make it as difficult for you to answer as possible. But what they at the end is trying to find out how much research, how much effort you have put into your. This is a show. It goes to show that the effort you have to put in trying to put a business plan or trying to put an idea across to get an investor. And I share an example of my former CEO. I think he gave this example when I think he was involved in this presentation or in this team where they made a presentation in Singapore some 10 years ago. It's about a biodegradable plastic. The biscuits, where the biscuits where it's fitted into the trays, the plastic. They were able to make that submission. I mean, show that it's biodegradable. What they did, they put it in. They got a jug of water, and they put it inside that plastic, and it disappeared in a minute. So because it was made of cornstarch, so they were able to sell that idea. This is what I'm talking about. The other one is practice your power of a demo. A power of a demo, what means saying that lady which you saw in the biodigester video, she probably is not well dressed, simple kind of dressing, but she's got the idea with her. I could be standing here with my suit, tie, and everything, but if my content is no good, it's no use. And so it's about your ability to demonstrate that yes, the idea which you got is workable and saleable. That's what I mean about power for demo. I'll talk briefly about the investment cycle. If you look at the graphs there, it's about against time. When you start your business, the risk is high, but you must realize that when the risk is high, the returns too will come. But it takes the time. But in the beginning, the risk is high, and as you go along over time, the risk is reduced, is minimized. If I talk about type of capital, initially you will put in your sweat equity. You will put your hard-earned dollars or your effort into the business, and then you might be able to get a founder equity if you are able to sell your idea. And then you might be able to get a second stage financier or funder based on your idea. And this is the time when you think your idea is robust, you think it's workable, and you are at a stage where you probably need to approach FDB. We are always there. Our doors are always open in the 12 branches we have. Then the cost of capital, the cost of capital, sorry, is high initially, because you're trying to gather money here, there. Normally, I don't know about SPBD, but the cost of funds initially is higher. for you to borrow, but as you go along, because you've established a reputation, and then, then you can start negotiating your interest rate and other charges and fees, Similarly, with profitability, you might start with very small profit, but as you go along, over time, your profit goes up. You start to earn more. Now, let me talk a little bit about funding opportunities and incentives available at FDB. And under SME, we classify as small and medium enterprise. For small, we're looking at turnover of 30,000 to about 100,000 and employing people from 6 to 20. For medium enterprise, we're looking at 21 to 50 people. We have specific facilities available in SMEs for business purchases, for contractual transport, plant operations. Loans could be from 5,000 to 500,000. Some of the incentives available, we have this I.S funding through RBF, import substitution or export finance facility through RBF. It's 5% interest rate over 5 years. In compliance with the policy, yes, we can look at this funding. We have this import substitution through Ministry of Industry and Trade, a revolving facility of 4% over 12 months. We also have very shortly introducing loans up to 50,000 on a reduced interest rate on a subsidy rate. We also have another facility with RBF, we call it the SMEGS, the small medium cash grant system, where when sometimes people come up with proposals, they don't normally have security or they're weak in security. So this is where your security comes in. RBF provides 50% of the security to secure a loan, so that you can bring it to the threshold we require and consider your funding. And under the solar energy concept, we have old bank guarantee very soon of covering 50% of the security as well. The sectors that we finance is in transport, taxis, taxi hires, trucks, marine vessels, minibus, and delivery and storage, wholesale, retail, places of fixed asset, initial working capital, services, repair shops, fuel stations, wreckers, etc., fast food services, restaurants, tourism accommodation, resorts, tours, ecotourism projects, accounting, any viable and legal project we can look at. This is just an example. The last one I want to talk about is our Yambula fixed deposit facility. If you got money that you want to put in FDB up to 25,000, minimum 25,000, we got very, very lucrative and competitive interest rates, which we can offer. And this can also allow you to secure it against other borrowings you might want to have. And our Yambula facility is new, but yes, we got good takers. And I encourage you or your family or your friends who are interested in putting your money into this Yambula facility. You will realize that the money that you put in will be put to use to help somebody in a rural area or in a remote area developing agriculture. And then we go back to that biodigester concept. It's making life so much easier for so many entrepreneurs. This is all I have, and I'm glad to answer any questions, but this is my contact. I'm here. My friend Sateta is here as well, so thank you very much for listening. Vinaka.
Right, thank you very much, FDB. A round of applause, please. We will just ask FDB whether they have brought any application forms for loan, because we have a lot of people here who would like to apply for loans. Right, but these people have come from, should All right. See, because we have people here who have a farming background, and obviously FDB does a lot of funding for farming and micro businesses, Oh, okay. So there you have it. For those of you who are thinking of actually applying or getting an application through to FDB, just get through your, just go through your centers. In Boa, like if you're from Boa, you can just go to Nambowalu. We have the FDB people there as well. And in Savu, you have an FDB office there. These are the people who will assist you. Do an assessment on your current situation and the things that are on the ground, and probably assist you in filling out the forms. Because normally you need a support letter from the Ministry of Agriculture and of course from the fisheries sector if you are applying for a fishing loan as well. All right. Any questions to FDB? Any questions to FDB? We have one there. Humphrey, okay. Question to Humphrey. Humphrey, you ready? All right. Yeah, Humphrey's waiting for you.
Okay, after listening the whole week to all the presentations, I just wanted to know, because I saw a lot of people filling forms with Mr. Humphrey. I'd like to know if his organization is linked to SPPD and Fiji Development Bank in any way, or MITT. I'd like to know how it works with his organization or with his members. Humphrey, all yours?
Is the question directed to me or?
It is directed to you, whether your organization is linked.
I think that question is better answered by FDB, whether or not they take into account the SPD facilities or otherwise. The Fiji Chamber of SME, by the way, for those of you who may or may not know, the Chamber of SME is employer representative. We represent employers. And so if you are in business, you can contact us, the small and medium enterprises, contact us, or contact any other organizations like the Fiji Chamber of Commerce, the Fiji Employers Federation. They are Employers Federation, Employers Representative, I'm sorry. Is that sufficiently answered or not? I have a question to ask FDB. The question I want to ask is FDB running out of funds? Why I'm asking that is because I have applied for a loan, not a very big loan, a small loan, but it has now taken, the first loan, I got it, but it took me about 7 months. This loan I have applied for is an extension of that loan, and it's now gone almost 3 months. And I'm just wondering, is the bank run out of FDB, short of funds to give out? Because if I was a banker, you know what I would do? I would treat the application quick, fast. You know why? Because I want to make money. But it sounds to me that FDB doesn't want to make money.
All right, FDB.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm aware of your application. We don't want to discuss individual applications here, but there are some situations differ from each application. You know, I do understand where you're coming from. I think there's some issues on interest rate, but let me tell you, FDB hasn't run out of money. There's a lot of money still available. Thank you.
All right, a round of applause to FDB, please. Yeah? All right, we will stop there, and this is a time to actually present the leaderboard. The leaderboard in our app, for those of you who have been submitting information and news through the leaderboard, we have. Oh, okay. All right. So I'll just. All right. So this is the time for us to present the prize to our leaderboard, the person who has submitted the most information, most news. Okay, handing over to you, Vanessa.
Thank you. Yes, so this is for the leaderboard for the USP Entrepreneurial Fair app. And we're pleased to have our group manager, Mr. Glenn Pope, who thought about the Entrepreneurial Fair about 2 years ago. And he's brought in a lot of our overseas speakers who have come, you know, to the Entrepreneurial Fair for the past couple of years that we've had it. So yes, Mr. Glenn Pope is here with us, and I will announce the winner for the leaderboard, and it is Savanaya Navua Sese. Navua Sese. Thank you. There you go. Yes, it's a Samsung J4.
Hey, thanks very much for coming. It's good to see a full house. I think we've got 306 seats, 6 for disabled, so I can gather we've probably got about 285, so that's fantastic. Hey guys, I just want to say thank you for coming. I see a lot of community people here. I'm glad that you've kind of recognised this as an opportunity to learn something, have a few takeaways. It's good to see that we're using an app. And that man posted so many relevant photographs and comments, so obviously we try and encourage people to use modern technology as we try and develop our entrepreneurial businesses, etc., etc. So look, thanks very much. Hope you take some takeaways, that you learn something and that you know where to go. And if not, we'll have another one next year, so whanaka waka levu.
Thank you, Glenn. All right. We're just into our final preparation. Presentation, please, Fiji Cooperative. Come on. We have a couple of final presentations, and then we'll call it a day. Yeah? For the time being, we will be working on your certificates. I know you want to take a certificate home to apply for funding. All right, that's coming up in just a matter of minutes. All right, so we will start writing out your names on your certificates. All right, so just sit back and relax, right, and listen to